Hello and welcome to Muse and Metrics. This is your host, Philippa Burgess. I am so pleased today to have Priyal Jain join us, and she is a fellow Women Techmaker Ambassador. And this is her third time joining me for an interview. I'm so honored. That to me, that is the highest compliment, to have my guest return and that we can continue the conversation. The first time you joined me was when we did the audio summit for the International Women's Day Dare to Be. And then you joined me as a guest in season 5. And here we are again. And it's been a year since we've spoken. So I'm excited to hear what you're up to, how you've continued to grow and learn in your journey, as well as the conversations of the season are designed to support the mentorship that I'm doing. And so we'll talk about things about how you grew as a starter to becoming a leader, and things that you did to get involved in your community that I just thought were very inspiring, and confidence and communications. And you are someone who has raised your hand to be here, and in other ways that you just get involved. And I love that. And you are joining us from India. So yeah, share more. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. My name is Priyal Jain, and I am having 4.5 plus years of experience in IT industry and a senior associate consultant working in a UI web technologies from Infosys. So this is all about my professional background, which I can say. But yeah, I love to part of this conversation, Muse and Matrix season 6. Would wanted to share a lot of things here related to the community, related to the personal life, personal branding, confidence, and so on, which is we are impacting through our day-to-day lives, which I believe. The first part which I talked about, which is about the community, as already you are aware about, like communities, you know the term what is community. Community mean is not only meant about like tech community or non-tech community. It's meant about the group of people which come together that makes to the community. It can be anything, like in a company, in a personal life as well. So I wanted to know about you folks. Please put it down the comments, share the feedback. Like, what do you mean by the community? Like, why do you join the community? Is it just by the name itself, or that's by the growth? Like, the focus is very important, right? Like when I join the community, my focus, target, is very clear. Like why I wanted to join, why I wanted to engage myself into the community. This is very important when we are doing the things, and we are doing when we are part of the contribution to it, because without aiming and everything, and we are seeing the people who join the community and we are just rushing to them, this is not clear to the ambition, right? We just have to focus and clear and set a goal, like why I wanted to join first, and how will I see myself in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years. Just set your goal in the community as well. Like if I want to tell about my journey, you won't believe. uh, I'm a very stage fear person. Like even when I started the community, I was very introvert person. Introvert is a kind of person that is very reserved, like, which I don't want to talk and everything. My networking is very good, no doubt, but when I speak to the people and engage with the people, then my networking would be good. But apart from that, I was nothing, literally. And for me, I have built my identity, my growth, my professionalism, built my own hard work. You can see me, my profiles, LinkedIn profiles, and everything. I do the hard work. With the hard work, I achieved everything. There is nothing like a bias here and everything. I put a lot of efforts to reach here. Even I can't say like at the this point I am very perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody do small mistakes and everything. But the thing is, like if you do the mistake, you need to learn from that, so that you will not repeat this mistake again into your life. This is very important. And being part of the community, it amazed. Like for me, I myself grow. My personality is also grown up. I want to share the starting age. Like the starting age is always a volunteering and everything. Like when you do the volunteering in community, in company level, like as a fresher, if you join the company, your senior managers and leaders will tell you like you have to learn these skills and everything. They tell you about the technology which you have to learn something like that. But I want to tell you, do you have anything in your mind like what you have to do in your life? Like not about like somebody will give you that you have to learn that skill and I'm just going to the part which your leaders is going to the part. For myself, I am very clear and ambitious person. I have very focused. Like, yeah, I want to go in UI. If everybody tell me, no, Priyal, don't go UI, don't go this thing. No, I'm very stubborn person. If I choose something now that I want to do in anyhow at any cost, if I want to do UI, I have to do AI. I put a lot of efforts to do that. Some things I have done the struggle in my freshers journey. I have done very struggle, and everybody does the struggle because in freshers we don't have any experience, so nobody takes us in because we have to prove ourselves like we are capable enough, we are perfect enough to fit in your organization, in your community, everywhere we have to prove ourselves because at the fresher level, a trust is very important. Like yeah, to build that trust, we have to work a lot, no doubt. Everybody face this kind of stage into his or her life. So there is nothing like it's a very serious note. This is a very normal in every person's life.
Let's talk about a few things. We talked about community, and I think you talked about being part of a community and how
Yes.
being part of community, I know for me, has been transformational. I decided I'd really kind of hit an end of my road in the professional path I was going. And I was like, I'm just ready for a change. And I physically had moved locations. So a lot of the people that I did have around me as in community were no longer there. And I needed to find and build a new community. And I first started through an academic path, going back to graduate school. But then I think it's, especially I'm an older student. I mean, many graduate students are older. But I was feeling like I needed a community outside of my university community. And the first one that I just have found so much joy, and I don't take the phrase lightly when I say an absolutely transformational experience, was becoming a Women Techmaker Ambassador. Another community I've been part of is the 360 Talk Radio community for women, and being able to be a podcaster there and part of that community to have this show and grow that and actually bring these two communities together has been fantastic because it's given me a platform to get to know all of these amazing people like yourself from around the world. And we all have this growing in tech together, which is great. But also, obviously, women are often underrepresented in tech. And that's why this initiative was created by Google to help us get together to help each other because we have this built in disadvantage. And I got to go to Google I/O this year, which was an incredible experience. But I also realized that it was through Women Techmakers Ambassador and through Tech Equity Collective, which is focused on Black community and Black developers in the United States, that those communities were being subsidized essentially to show up at Google I/O because even like less than 10 years ago, they were saying like it was a less than 7% women at the show. And then they improved it and doubled it and got it up to 14%. And I will say this year they made an effort, but you could see it was a very good mix of men and women, a good mix of racial diversity. And they've had to make efforts to make that happen. So I don't know where you work, where the equity is between men and women, but I think that so as a woman, having women communities, I think, is really powerful, as well as just also having tech communities is really great. And I know you're really involved in things like Google developer groups and locally, and you've done a lot there. But let's just kind of finish out the community conversation, and then I'll kind of jump to the next point that you were making about working in UI and having that confidence and having that focus and sort of that professional growth and direction. So yeah, let's go back to just community. What are some of the things that you have done in community? And you have also talked about how you went from being someone who was naturally more introverted and have found your voice and have found your place and your way onto stages and to interviews and to speaking up and to contributing as someone who speaks.
Okay, so yeah, I personally relate to your points. Like women are underrepresented groups, and I've seen like women are also receiving a lots of opportunities from the Google Dev groups as well. Not even Google Dev groups, from the Women Techmakers global programs as well, like Women Developers Academy, where they provide to learn more about the public speaking, leadership skills, and various opportunities. Like they train women and to drive women in tech and encourage women to do such things better. Uh, being a part of the community is very beneficial for us. It is not about like those who are not part of the community, they are not doing well. I am just saying that for me, my personal opinion is like I enter into the community to learn something. Like my aim is to learn something. Everybody has some different aims to do such kind of things. It is not about like if I am part of the community, I have grown such skills into the speaking and everything. Without being part of the community, people do have such skills like GD, Google Developer Expert, if you can say about. They write blogs, they do the speaker sessions and everything. They have excellent public speaking skills, no doubt.
So I'm going in those directions. Right now, I'm doing a lot of cloud studies, and that will lead me into cloud security. That will lead me into machine learning, which are all part of my studies. But I left Google I/O this year really embracing the idea that I want to be a geospatial expert. And because they don't have that as a category, I'm not going to let that stop me. I've just decided that everything that I want to speak about and know about and have the technical expertise in is going to be related to all of Google's geospatial technologies, whether that's Google Maps platform, whether that's Google Earth Engine, Google Earth, just maps in general, map APIs, like all the things that are in the map cartography, remote sensing, spatial imagery, and then ways that we can apply machine learning, the way that I can sort of be a spatial data scientist, and then with my interest in cybersecurity and cloud security, that I can sort of bring that all together. So that's one of the things about GDE is that I made peace for myself within the US kind of construct of it, that right now I don't fit and that I don't need to fit.
I personally do a correction here. My personal opinion, which is like become a part of GDE. Yes, it is. It provides the lots of travel opportunities, reimbursement, and so on. But I think those who have a passion to become GDE is not only for to take such things kind of opportunities. I think for deliver the content is very important. Like we as an organizer, we used to organize the events into our community. We need some expert persons. Not only that senior person can fulfill that. It is not about like you're speaking accent or something. It's about your knowledge and your experience respect to that technology, which I can see into the GDs person. GDs is not about only that like they used to take the travel opportunity and speak everywhere. Yeah, it is a networking and they like speaking because they used to do such things. But I think to deliver the particular session with an expertise of that GD like Google team, and I don't know what kind of team it is. Yeah, but the devil relations team of the GDs, they get trained to the GDs people, and they write the blogs, they write content to deliver the topic. I see the open source repositories as well. It is for the GDs. It is very well organized, best practices. So I learned a lot from various GDs person into my community. So I personally tell this opinion like it is not about only such opportunities they become a GD. Honestly, they have that content and expertise of that, and I personally learned from that. So with my experiences about this one, and apart from that,
Well, let
as
me
you
let me
tell
a-
about,
let me ask you one question though. Are you on your way to becoming a GDE, or are you learning from other GDEs?
I want to become a DD in my tech school web.
Okay, so we're at the same space. This is what I'm saying. Is that what I realized is that I don't have to wait for them to say, you're a GDE, start writing blogs. I need to start
Yes.
writing blogs, and eventually at the right time when my skills are there and I'm like, I own this, and they will recognize me and say, oh, by the way, you really should be like, you're here. And I think that's the idea, is that there was a part of me before that was kind of moving in that direction, but waiting for them to kind of approve me, waiting for them to sort of say, okay, you're good enough, go.
I agree with your points.
So as a GDE, you get all these opportunities to be recognized as this expert. And I guess I'm seeing that I have opportunities in front of me to be part of these communities. And I think especially as a Women Tech Maker Ambassador, we're already part of the Google ecosystem. So we're not withheld from the Google ecosystem. We get all these benefits. And I am realizing that it's important for me to start speaking. It's important for me to start blogging and making videos, and not waiting for them to tell me, okay, you're an expert now, you can start doing this. And actually, it was the South Korea GDEs that were really saying, oh, if you want to be a GDE, you start now. You start writing blogs every week. You start getting on stages. You start speaking. You basically, their coaching to me was, you start acting like a GDE, and then you will then start getting paid like a GDE. And paid meaning that they start reimbursing your travel. I also had to make peace in my own life. I'm not in a position to travel. I mean, I went up to Google I/O, it was great, but I have all of my travel is sort of set. So I have no extra places that I want to go that I need them to pay me to go to. So I think another reason I was like, I'd like to get there, but I'm also realizing that I'm just like, just do what's in front of me now, and we in time will get there. But that it's important for us to start teaching our technical expertise as we know it, and then as we continue to learn and grow. Like, for example, I know you a year ago were very, very much about Angular.
Yes.
Is that
I'm very
still
impressed.
your like
You have seen my
primary?
profile and you sketch that. Yeah. Angular.
Yes, I very much remember us talking about Angular. And Angular. So tell us about Angular. Angular is a Google technology, and it's for development. Is it?
Sure.
It's
I I go ahead with that. So like this is, we have talked about the Google Developer Expert. You can search about in the Google like what is GDE, and next is like Angular. Angular is a Google technology. So it is not about I'm being biased to the Google. Like it is a Google technology and I am really into Angular. I really like Angular technology because like it is very good. Have a good features like performance optimization and very big application. It gives the support of the UI, all the syntax and everything. Like if you want to do user experience application in a various dependencies in a big application, it provides a lots of features there, performance optimizations and support, render support. So I'm like that. I've learned Angular. So Angular, about Angular, I want to say that you can just go to the web, and in the URL you can just type that angular.dev. Angular.dev, it is, we have reached the Angular 18th version. Angular, in Angular there are the lots of version you don't not need to worry about. You have to learn in such a, it's a lots of version in the sense is there will be new features coming up in the various things in Angular. So they set it to the version names only. That's all about the versions is. So yeah, in Angular we can have the various features, like we can control, like if you know about the programming, what the programming is. In programming you just know about like if else switch, like conditions operations. So with the help of condition operation, it is very easy in DOM manipulation and Angular as well. You can go and search it out. For the new users who don't know about what the Angular is an open source. It is a single page application. Single page application is meaning about we have all the component, all the things like header, footer. It is in the single page root applications. We have a routing in the sense like if you go any websites, so you mean routing is like slash and the route like home, about. It is, we can call this as a route. Like we are going to that page definition, which is we can call it as a route. And apart from that, there would be the various new features in the Angular. To become the Angular person is not important, because we have a various technologies in the competitors nowadays, like React, Vue. So it is very flexible. Like if you want to go on any one of the framework or libraries like Angular, Vue, React, it doesn't matter. Only your tech UI sound is very important, like JavaScript, your logical skills. For me, I'm also learning with the logical skills, honestly, but I love the UI work very much. So I just go and dive into the UI things, and automatically I will do the things by using the Google and everything. So React and Vue is also very easy. You can go and search on it. It is very vast. React is a library, Vue is a framework, Angular is also a framework. Angular is a big framework. You should know this at least basic. But I personally suggest you to go into one specific technology and master it, not for all the technologies. Because for mastering into the one technology is very important, not all the things, but you should know all the things is very important. You should be versatile enough. If any opportunity comes up in React into your project and everything, you should know how to do. You're just not sitting like an idle, like you don't know how to do it. You just Google it to do the basic things, at least not into the master things we are expecting, but that's all. If we talk about the UI things, like you should know first HTML, CSS, JavaScript, because in Angular we are using such kind of things like in TypeScript. CSS is something like we are giving the coloring of it, like the button colors, to make the user experience looks attractive. We can say, like just look like if we visit any website like Facebook, Instagram, the color combinations, graphics, which make us look attractive to visit the pages more, right? So CSS plays a very crucial role into that. CSS stands for cascading style sheets. You can go and search it on the web, Google. You can see the various links to learn about the CSS. That is why CSS plays a very important role. HTML is very important because without HTML we can't run any single code in the web browser. Yes.
HTML and CSS were my very first languages that I learned when I was an undergraduate in college, and this was many
Yes.
years ago. And I loved the fact that I was like, "Oh, I can build a website. This is great." And I that was when I fell in love with coding, and I learned how to do basic things, but I could build a just a basic website. And again, this predates Google, so this is a while ago. And it also predated a lot of the what you see is what you get, and a lot of the SaaS, sort of very uh, no code, low code solutions. And because my first path was in marketing, I built things all the time. Whenever I was in a team and someone needed to build something and it needed to be coded, that's what I did. Once everything kind of evolved into sort of no code, low code in the marketing field, I didn't do much in terms of coding. And then as I got back into what I'm doing now and in my studies, coding became such a big part of what I do is GIS. And so with Python, you can customize things. And now the better part of this year, the whole reason that I actually put my show on pause and on replay is because I spent the better part of 6 months learning JavaScript. And I'm working with these 3D photorealistic tiling tools that are part of a JavaScript library, and built my first custom web app. And actually, one of my projects for this week is to finish that and finally deliver it. It's taken me months, but it's something I'm so proud of. It's kind of a Port of Long Beach sustainability analysis, and it's done in 3D tiling. And it's got some bathymetry, so you can actually go under the water in scenes. And it was so fun to build. And that's part of the reason I love coding. To me, it's a very creative process. You get to build things. And with what you're doing with websites, and I think there's a lot to be known. And I do feel like as a technical person, and I am a Women Techmakers Ambassador, and I'm also a Microsoft Student Learn Ambassador. So I'm working on the Microsoft platforms. I'm also now an Esri Ambassador, and so that's our mapping platform.
Yeah, nice. That is very great to hear, and I'm very inspired with your things and everything what you are doing. I just want to know, yeah, we all are Women Techmakers Ambassador. It's good to be part of it. It's very inspiring. I heard a lot of things and so on. But the most important is, like, why do we become the Women Techmakers Ambassador? It is not only about having the leadership skills. It, like, what is the main motive and agenda for going to be this initiative? For the people, I just want to clear the confusion. Like people always talk about like women take makers, it's a different community. It is not a different community. It is derived from the Google Dev community itself because we need women underrepresented groups. We need women initiatives and many things. So it is a part of the GDG's events as well. It is just about the WTM initiatives. Find out separatives just because of the women who don't speak, who have a lots of who want lots of opportunities into the fields, just like a various initiatives like Tell Your Story workshop, Reframe Your Narratives, and many more. So, like, I just want to know, not know about. I'm very inspired of your journey, Women Techmakers, Muse and Metrics, and you do the lots of various things to drive women in track, to encourage women to participate and share about their learning, expertise, growth. This is very inspiring. Like and we love to hear those stories like about the women and how they are doing, how they are growing. What I meant is to build somebody up in the sense like to encourage women in participate in contributions and other initiatives which I meant. It is not only about having the speaking skills itself, but to stand up for yourself, to speaking about the things, to encourage women to participate in the initiatives. It is very important, I think. So,
It is very important. And I think that one of the things that I saw is I started studying cybersecurity this year, and it was a new piece of what I don't even think that I understood kind of how all the pieces were sort of tying together, because a lot of my interest, although I could say, okay, I'm interested in geospatial and AI machine learning, and we could end it there. And yet when I bring in cloud, because obviously processing a lot of the machine learning is done on cloud, you start getting into security. And the other part is I want to do spatial data science. And if you're dealing with highly sensitive data, well, you need to secure that data. You need to understand that aspect of it. And the more that it all came together, it realized that cybersecurity ended up being a very important part of my studies, because also my studies are geared towards human security, national security, intelligence, where cybersecurity is kind of at the heart of a lot of the missions of federal agencies. And with that, I started seeing a lot of women early in their careers. They had their certs, they had their education, and they just weren't getting the doors open. Nobody was responding to their resume. They didn't know where to start, and they were very frustrated. And then I started hearing that this was an industry-wide problem, that you had all this eager, enthusiastic, uh, motivated talent, educated talent, and they just weren't getting the opportunities, and you were burning them out without them even starting. And I'm like, I don't know the answer to this, but I was like, we should address this, because it was more than one person. I was seeing this over and over and over again. So I decided that for my International Women's Day project, that I would just invite these people and say, let's do a mentorship. Let's come hang out and let's see what we can do together to solve this. Let me see if I can find you some mentors to talk to you. Let me see if I can find you some guidance on your resume and your interview skills. Let me see what we can do to build your confidence. But in a lot of these cases, I'm not seeing a huge confidence gap based on the individual. I'm seeing the confidence gap based on how they're being treated by the industry. And so I really want to figure out, like, how do we get them going? How do we mentor and nurture that next generation? And we need them, not just in the United States or North America, but around the world, as we move more to the cloud, as we have more threat actors who are financed and well organized by adversary governments. There is a lot that needs to be done in the privacy space and cybersecurity space, and privacy law also, in terms of protecting uh, private private health information, protected personal information. We just see breach after breach after breach, and leak after leak after leak, and that's not legal. Like, those people should be doing a better job of protecting that data, or credit card information. And a lot of people get tangled in being victims of fraud individually, and then of course as companies, and ransomware is very profitable. And we need more defenders, and we need to train those defenders. They've done their part to say, I'm interested and I've got my certs, I've got my academic education, but like, how are we inviting them into the field? So I don't know the answer to this, but I know that it's worth a conversation, and it's worth putting it out there and trying to solve it as an industry to say, I've found 27 of your brightest next generation. How do we give them all a great opportunity? How do we give them all a starting point? And that is the point of the mentorship, of what we're doing, is help them build community. If there are confidence gaps, help them build confidence, help them learn to be good communicators, see what opportunities we can find and share with them wherever we can find and share those opportunities, but also knocking on the doors of employers and saying, hey, we do have some really great talent, how do we get them going?
Which is very commendable, I can say. Being part of mentor is very important. Yeah, I must agree to it. Uh, I've done the mentoring in a different ways. Like somebody's reach out to me, so I share my opinion, I share my experiences, which is what I do. The mentoring is all about to the people. Somebody seeks help, somebody needs help into some opportunities, and for the career and the community perspective. So we do help and everything. So this is we have talked about the mentorship. So if we talk about the leadership, like what do you mean the actual leadership skills is all about to bringing the unity towards the team only itself? Or there are certain roles and responsibilities towards the leadership skills as well, being not being part of the community only, it is being part of everything which we are leading to it in the organization and community, where we have to lead with the group of people. It is very difficult. I am very inspired by the amazing leaders into our community and everywhere, bring unity to the towards the people, and with the help of, with the various roles and responsibilities, like we have to listen to the everybody's opinion and give to our fair opinion. It is very important, and we have to take the things with the people ahead. This is all about the things going to the leaders here. So I just want to know your perspective, like how do you lead such things into drive into your community, not into the community itself, with the organization and everywhere, like just like you have amazing mentors, and not only to the all the women here, like you have also give the suggestions, which is very commendable. I just want to know your things as well. Like, how do you lead the things? How do you take the initiatives, ownerships, responsibilities? I know sometimes it is very difficult to managing, to listen to the everybody and give your opinion. So I just want to know your journey here.
I appreciate that. I think there's so many different styles of leadership, and I think that to understand that leadership is its own field of study. There are so many great books and great concepts and great theories and great experience, and what's worked, what hasn't worked. One of my favorite quotes in the field, and I don't even think that I know the exact words anymore. The general concept of it was like, if you have someone on your team and they're not doing their job to the as well as you believe that they should be doing their job, that's a failure on you, not a failure on them. Meaning that as a leader, it is your job to make sure that your people have the support they need, the motivation they need, and yet their motivation is your responsibility. That they have the resources, the knowledge, the understanding, and truly, if they're not a right fit for the position, they're not a right fit for the role, figuring out where would they thrive, where do they belong. If they don't belong on the team, move them off the team, but not as a matter of failure, but as a matter of opportunity. Like they belong somewhere else. Let's help them get there, and let's get the right person in that seat who's going to be best for that particular role, and then giving that person everything they need to succeed in that role. And I think that that's part of leadership to me, is to get the right people in the right chairs. And if they're not in the right chairs, move them on to what would be a right chair for them. And then just make sure that they have what they need. Don't just, criticize them because they're flailing and they're not getting it and they're not delivering. Then that you have to see that as a problem of leadership.
Yeah, every leaders have a very own inspiring journey. I really applaud to them. So okay, now just let's talk about if we were talking about the community things, mentoring, leadership, and the various roles and opportunity to drive in women in tech about the things. Uh, I just want to, like, as I also shared about my journey into the community and the organization and the UI technology specific things. So in UI also I have shared the roadmap. Like if you want to become a web developer, you have just gone through the HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That is a pre-cap. Now the next thing which I wanted to know about is like we have shared about the Google I/O. I am waiting for the Google I/O dyingly, which will be happening in India as well. Google I/O Connect Bangalore. So please stay tuned on eye on it. And about your seasons, like this is a sixth season of Muse and Metrics, and I just want to know about the Muse and Metrics, how this word come and how you started with your journey with Muse and Metrics.
So thank you for that question. I had wanted to say something. I didn't know what I wanted to say. I didn't know who I wanted to say it to, but it was feeling so strong in me that I wanted to have a voice. And I admired other people I saw on stages and other people I heard. And I didn't know where to start. I was thinking, okay, I could maybe go on to YouTube, but I didn't have a format in mind. I didn't know, was I just going to talk to myself or how it was going to look? I didn't really know how to edit. And so I was in my head just thinking about what could I do? What would it look like? Audio, video, how long would it be? And I had the good fortune of meeting the producer of 360 Talk Radio for Women. And we met on an audio app called Clubhouse, which many of us spent a lot of time in, especially during the pandemic. That was my go-to place because I couldn't really leave the house and I wanted to talk to people. And it was a good social audio app. And our paths had crossed on there. And she had said that she was just launching and she was looking for hosts and she was offering stage time to prospective hosts. And I said, yes, let me do it. And what I liked about it is she was like, okay, it's 1 hour of audio, go. And I really appreciated having that structure, having that form of knowing exactly what I needed to deliver, when I needed to deliver it. And I realized I was at a place in my life where I was going through a lot of transition and we were all kind of in pandemic trauma, at least I was. But I think much of the world was going through the pandemic. And I decided that I didn't have the administrative bandwidth to have guests. I didn't know where to get my guests. I didn't know how to organize them. I could potentially get them off of Clubhouse, but I didn't want to yield my stage to stories that didn't have a cohesiveness to them. And so I decided to just own my stage and own my time. And for my first 4 seasons, and I had 18 episodes a season. And I think part of that happened is I got to my first 18 episodes and I didn't realize it was a season. I just was like, okay, I did 18 episodes and I needed a break. And that's where the producer said, oh, well, that's a season. You can call it an end and then take a break and then come back and go again. I was like, oh, okay. And that's how I ended up with 18 episodes in a season. So my first 4 seasons were just me talking about my transitions, about going back to grad school, about moving and getting myself out of storage and ending a marriage and all of the things that I was going through that I needed to just talk about these transitions. I'm not the only one, I'm sure, going through a transition. But what it helped me do is because in editing my own audio, I learned to improve my speaking. I learned to get rid of my ums and ahs, you knows and so's because I heard myself. And I noticed that after every episode, my speech was a lot cleaner. And I found my voice and I found my passions. I found what I was interested in. And a lot of my conversations were about how I was transitioning into tech, how I was transitioning into science, coming from this arts background. And it was only when I became a Women Techmakers Ambassador that suddenly I had this community. But even then, I didn't have the courage or the knowledge or idea to say, oh, I should have them on as my guests. Instead, she had the option for us to produce these 5-hour audio summits as kind of bonus content. And I had done my first one the year before. And I think in trying to find my voice, I had actually literally taken a voice class. And I loved my teacher and I loved my classmates. And I said, okay, let's talk about finding your voice. And I brought my voice teacher on and a couple of the other students, and we produced the first 5-hour audio summit. So that was my first one, and I was really pleased with how it went. And she liked it as well and said, keep going. So then when we had International Women's Day, I was a new Women Techmakers Ambassador for 2023 for Dare to Be. And I said, okay, let me invite you all to my stage and let me have my first opportunity to interview. And you were one of my interviews, and you were one of 8 interviews that I did. And I edited it into the 5-hour audio summit. And I was so pleased with it. I was really felt like it was something I was very proud of. And for anybody out there who wants to go listen to it, I think it's great. I think they're really inspiring interviews. I've enjoyed editing them and listening to them and just getting to know all the people on them who are so amazing and inspiring, yourself included. And then that's sort of when and actually I still went on to do a second one. I did a Google I/O extended. That was actually when I met Kavitha, who was talking cybersecurity, and I was like, cyber what? Like a year later, I am all in on cybersecurity. And so I did a second Google I/O, and I intercut some of the talks from the recorded talks from the Google I/O. I wasn't there. I didn't attend that year, but it got me really excited to attend. And you came and joined me again. And that's when I felt like I was starting to say, okay, think I can make a whole season here. I think now we can start doing these longer interviews. We can do the hour. And so as I started season 5 last fall, that's when I was like, okay, come on, Women Tech Makers. And you have all made this possible for me. There's no way I would have had a show and season after season of interviews that, to me, when I yield my stage, you all are an extension of me, because we're all up to the same thing. We're all growing and learning and sharing tech and being collaborative and talking about the issues that women face in technology and in the workplace. And to me, it's been amazing. And so the fact that I get to do a 6th season and that I get to have it still very much focused on women tech makers being my guests, I would open it to other communities, but I haven't needed to, because every time I've said, hey, Women Tech Makers, come hang out with me, you all sign up, and that's joyful for me. And so here we are in season 6.
So I personally say, yeah, it is a very inspiring, appreciating. Like, you are bringing all the women tech makers, all the inspiring women, and to be in take to share about their journeys. Again, I am repeating, and about your journey, like Muse and Metrics, like gone so far long, and I inspired to know about your skills, about the editing skills and everything. Yeah, I am also trying to learn something new, skills about like. Designing kind of stuff, like creativity, designing, Figma. So this is all the basic skills I am also learning towards the community, and I'm enjoying as well. With the help of the speaking, yeah, speaking like helps me a lot as well. Like, I also trying to part of the many engagements. Is not about only the podcast. Every engagement which I seen and seeks, like, yeah, it is a good thing. I should dive and engage something. I don't have that things like I have to like speak and like spreading the content to the people. I'm just being very casual person. I'm always not prepared to any sort of contents. Like, I usually being the casual and genuine. I just somebody's asking the question, I'm just replying to the question very nicely or anything. This is just how I do the conversation with the people, honestly. So yeah, speaking helps me a lot, like to drive the content, to build the confidence skills, which I am confident, I know that. But for the speaking skills, to build that confidence, yeah, I build that up. And to the personality level and everything, like to explaining the way of communications, to express your views and thoughts, it is very important. Like, you should speak, and it's not only about you should have to reply to somebody and everything. Speak in the sense like, you should know, like, how to express your thoughts, how to initiate the things, which is very important. It is not only in community, it is everywhere in nowadays, in today's generation, which is very, very fast. Like into our next generation, which is very advanced, which I say about. Even I see into the next generation, I have to look at myself like I need to learn the most of things with them because they know, they are very advanced about us. Like they already done such things already into the school college days, and now we are going ahead with that. This, which is very inspiring. Generation is going very advanced and faster. And into the community level as well, we have a Gen AI generation, which is very lead to that, which I can say everybody is going towards the AI and everything, which is a very huge impact in our technology. So I would suggest to the everybody people, like, it is not all have that you have to generate the interest in AI. You should know the basics, like what is going to be in technology trends about the AI things, not only in AI, in every, like what market is going ahead with the kind of this technologies. Personally, me, I also don't know about the technologies, but I just see that what market is going. But I usually keep doing what my level, what my interest seeks, and what I am have experience and expertise in that. So that's all about my journey with the mouse and metrics. And thank you for having me and giving me to the opportunity to speak, engage, and share about my thoughts, views
And
here.
actually, you've given me some good ideas, and I want to kind of expand on that. So you asked me about sort of how did I start on Muse and Metrics, and I want to talk a bit about the YouTube journey part of it, because that's new. And what I realized is that I have been playing with like the different formats and the different tools. And we were talking about, we record on StreamYard, and there's another one that I tried for a while called OBS, which is a free one, where StreamYard is something I have a subscription for. But with OBS, you always have to me, it was about getting the audio right, because a lot of times I would get the wrong audio feed, and then I'd record something and then the audio wasn't there. So there's a lot of like technical trial and error. I feel like I'm into YouTube now for over, I want to say just a kind of a year or two of dabbling in it. I only feel like I've figured out production. And when I say production, just the basics of capturing. I'm not and I'm not completely kind of out in the world, but like in a computer studio, I can capture, and taking a lot of screenshots or understanding how to sort of do screen record. And now I'm trying to learn editing. So I know how to edit audio. That's where I've gotten through the audio podcast. And now I'm on this journey to learn video editing, which is a whole different thing. VSDC. I use one called
Yes, yes,
VSDC. And then I use one, I use Premiere Pro, which I get a student discount on. And I use Canva is another one that has limitations, but for short video, I have one on my phone that I use. And so I'm kind of playing with all that. I did TikTok for about a year, and then I ended up sort of with a platform conflict with them, because I kept getting community bans for things that were okay in other countries but not okay in the US, and I was having a huge problem with that. So I left.
yes.
And after that, I stopped. I was like, wait, how do I if I'm not making them on TikTok, how do I make videos? And so just this last week, I made a video that was 2 minutes, and I'm so proud of it. I think it's really good 2 minute, and it features my upcoming guest. And I was like, oh, I want to do this for all of my interviews to sort of get these great clips. But then I realized, like, it took me 5 hours to get 2 minutes. So I know I will become more efficient in time. And I know there's a lot of time that comes with like downloading a video, uploading a video. It takes a huge amount of space on my computer. And anyways, this is where I'm at right now, is I'm really wanting to learn how to edit, because I feel like once I get the editing down, the channel will grow, the content will get better, and then I can build a new community that exists in this YouTube world where I can inspire people with these videos. And some of the videos that I want to do are highlights of the podcast, but also would love to invite you and our other fellow Women Techmaker ambassadors, if you can come and give a technical training. you were talking earlier about what people should know about Angular or .NET or
Yes,
React or .Vue. And I'm very new to understanding them. And just, again, this is not to become an expert. This is just
you have to
understanding.
first get trained first to that. Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. So I just want to know, as we discuss about like how to get started with the UI technologies, with the things, as I know. So for the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you can just go to the W3 schools in the Google. You will type W3 schools, you will get all the things there. For the Angular, I'm repeating again. You have to just go to the angular.dev for learning about the Angular. React has its own website. You can just type React in the Google. You will get to know about all the things related to the React in the website itself, about all the things like cycle hooks from the starting to the end. Starting to the end means beginner to the advanced. From the view, you can just type the view and you will just go to the view.js website and you will get to know. If you talk about the roadmap, like how to get started, so the roadmap which you will get to know in the YouTube itself. But I just want to suggest you just start doing with the basics first, and just go to the beginner level, then intermediate level, then advanced level, with doing some practical implementations as well, because this technology needs very much practical expertise, like not only theoretical. We need very practical hands-on to it. So just do the to-do list on any basic website. You can just make it and just go with the hands-on and just get start to it. That's all about my side.
No, that's great. And actually, so you were recommending W3 schools.
Yes.
They do a good job. So W3 schools, and then it's angular.dev.
Angular.dev, and with React and Vue having its own website. So just need to type React and Vue in the Google. It will give you the website as well.
Okay, so React, and then Vue is Vue, right? Vue,
Vue, right? Vue.js.
Vue. Okay, and
Yeah.
then .NET is part of the Microsoft, right? Because I know, so they
.NET is a
know.
part of Microsoft.
Okay, and I know they also use C# or C++.
C Sharp, SQL. You will get to know in the W3 schools as well. The basics. It includes all. Like, it is not only front end technologies in W3 schools. It includes backend as well.
And I'll say thanks to ChatGPT, and we've really only had ChatGPT right now for kind of 18 months.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
to
Everybody
me,
is using it.
it has been transformative. I use the paid version where I can upload screenshots or I can upload documents
Yes.
or I can upload things, and it is phenomenal for being able to say, hey, how do I do this? Or, especially if I can give them a screenshot of like, hey, I'm running into this problem or this error message. How do I fix it? And so when it comes to writing code, I will say I am so much further along thanks to ChatGPT for that. And I also, it continues to get better, and I often use it just for everything, just even like planning my day or any kind of problem that I'm thinking about solving, or just kind of things I want to sort of outline. It's kind of like the second half of my brain now, as I use it for a lot of stuff. It's a study buddy. I had to take an exam recently, and I had 45 minutes at the exam location before I was going to go in. And I just was sitting there and I was like, okay, ChatGPT, help me study. And it really just got me in the right frame of mind. And just we went through some of the things that I was still just needed a little extra review, and I passed. So I find ChatGPT and now Gemini. Gemini is different. Like they're not quite the same, and I haven't quite figured out where to optimize where I want to use Gemini versus ChatGPT. So I just, but I do find them like so incredibly helpful, and especially when it comes to writing code, or so like when you go to these sites and you see what's there, you can supplement your knowledge and your studying and your learning, and not be afraid of anything. This is really no problem that you can't figure out in the coding universe with ChatGPT. I mean, even when it comes to my mapping stuff, when I needed to download satellite imagery from Google Earth Engine and I didn't know how to write the JavaScript code to do that, I would just say, hey, here are the coordinates, because you can pin them easily. That I could do in Google Earth Engine. And so I'd copy the coordinates, give it to ChatGPT, and I'd say, okay, how do I get my coordinates? How do I write the script to get the natural color imagery, or the NDVI, which is sort of vegetation reflection, that sort of gives you the health of vegetation. And it was great. It would just give me everything I needed. And yeah. So how are you using ChatGPT or Gemini?
Yeah, I am using, yeah, for the Gemini. I just want to share something about it. I have recently made one contribution in the open source Gemini project with the my senior folks into the community, Usha and Anubhav as a GD mentor. So I personally don't know about AI things, but I personally encourage people like who motivated me to do such stuffs with the help of using Firebase and Web. It is a good challenge to me. I just started and I just forgot like how it will be the result. I just try it out. I just think like let's hope for the best. If it work or not as well, but let's do that. So I just try with the Firebase because I know Firebase a bit. I do the open source contribution with the Firebase hosting and authentication. So I know Firebase. I know Cloud Functions a bit very basic. So I just started with that with the help of Fire Resume Parser application I have made with the open source contribution. And with my team folks like my fellow ambassador Sachita Jain. With the what we have done is like we have done the web part, which is I am very good at it, so I have done all the things, and Firebase we both have the thing and put the logics over that and take the help with our mentors and deployed and just get started with something new and just come out of it. That's it.
Yeah,
Without
I think it's
expecting much, like it is going best or something. We just try it out and do well. That's it.
yeah, I think that's the thing, is if you approach it with joy and you approach it with play and you're not afraid of it, and you just sort of say, what's
Yeah, I
here?
just play around with the things. I'm not afraid with that. I just think like let's do that. We will see what it will happen. It.
Yeah, and that I think goes back to the GDE conversation, which is like, I don't want to take it too seriously at this point. I just want to play, and it's like there'll be a point where they're like, "You've
Same.
arrived, you're here, you've gotten everything we want," but I don't really want to um, reach for it where I'm sort of pushing myself into a place that I'm not ready for,
Same.
or I'm
Same.
stretching myself outside of where I want to be. Because I think you said that earlier about like having discipline about your lane. And you said that earlier, which I really appreciated, where you're like, hey, I am a UI person. User experience, user interface is really important to me. And I want to, like, that's where I want to focus.
And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity and look forward to it.
Yeah, no, I love it. I thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for your contributions and for your joy and for continuing to learn and contribute. I loved our conversations about community, about confidence, about leadership. Thank you for letting me tell my story about the history of sort of this show and how we got here. And that we, with a lot of things, you just have to begin. You just have to find a starting point. It's not a perfect one, but it was perfect for me, and it got me here. Same thing with Women Techmaker Ambassadors. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, I'm going to apply. And ever since then, I just apply, apply, apply. I have to kind of manage my time and make sure the most important things I've got don't sort of fall away. But I am someone who is always raising my hand and always saying, sure, why not? I'll get it. I won't get it, but I might, and they're not going to give it to me if I don't submit my form and submit my application. So I might as well do that. And I think I am seeing so much out there, almost to the point where I've gotten to that I have to share it with other people because I've taken on too much. And I see I'm in that stream and that line of just seeing all of these opportunities. I'm so happy that I became a Women Techmaker Ambassador. I'm so happy that we met. I invite our listeners to consider just joining Women Techmakers as a member, and you'll get their email and you'll learn about other opportunities that are extended to the community. When they open up the annual application, consider applying. It's a great community. And if not this community, continue to find other communities where you can connect and grow and thrive, whether you're a woman in tech or just a woman who's business and life intersect with tech because it kind of is pervasive and available and transformative for all of us. It's here. It's not going anywhere. And so it should be something that we're all comfortable getting started with and learning. And